Um. Anyway, so we got transfer information last night. Um, at like 11:30 at night, and
Mhm.
found out I'm going to Trujillo, which is pretty crazy. Which is the farthest part of the mission. It's
Oh
about an
no.
11-hour bus ride.
Oh boy.
It's a resort kind of area. It's a fairly big city, not really. I mean, kind of big. But it's mainly like touristy. So there's a ton of just hotels and restaurants there. Um, and so I found out I'm going there with Elder Halls' trainer. There's Selena, I think. Selena. Yeah, Selena Gomez. Elder Selena. And so we're going there. I'm going there with him on Wednesday. And so I've been trying to get packed a little bit. I just have all my stuff, that I gotta get packed.
Oh.
Um, which I just I had a little bit of time yesterday to like pack a tiny bit, but not really any. And today I want to go visit Christian and play some chess with him at 5. I also wanted to go to the office because I still haven't gotten my package yet. Because the Zeals, like I said, don't give a crap. And they said they were gonna go get it for me, but they went and checked once. But apparently, the secretary guy wasn't there. And so they don't know if it's there. And they didn't want to give me permission to go there. Except it's not his permission to give, it's the AP's. And he was just like completely avoiding every single possible way to allow me to get permission to go to the office to grab my package. He's like, I can't message him. I'm just gonna message him right now. I'm like, we have to go. We're on the way there. So you gotta call him. Could you please just call him right now so we can get permission quick instead of having to wait till he responds to a text? He's like, no, I can't call him right now because we were on the bus and he was standing up. So I can't call him right now because my hands are full. Give me your stuff. I'll hold on to it while you call him. No, but my phone's in my pocket. I'm like, here you go. Take it. Call him. It's like, but I can't really. I'm like, just sit down. I'll take your stuff. Call him. And he called him, let it ring for a bit. And it was like, he didn't pick up. I'm like, okay, call him normally instead of on WhatsApp because WhatsApp is stupid and doesn't pick up a lot of times. And so he was like, no, I'll call him once we get off. I'm like, once we get off, I want to go straight there. And there's so much crap. He just doesn't want, he just doesn't care. He just does not give a crap. And I'm just so pissed off at this point. And of course, we wasted a ton of time just going around because we were all the way in San Pedro. We were in the city. Okay, so back up. We had a goal this week to get 100 new people teaching and 100 lessons with member present for the zone, all 4 of us. So we each had to get, well, 5 of us, 5 groups, companionships. So we all had to get 20 each. And we did our part. Everyone else did their part except for the ZLs. And they got like less than half of their numbers because they don't give a crap. Like I said, they're dead. And so we were like, hey, we go into, and they said if we did that, we'd be able to go to the Coca-Cola sign up in San Pedro, which is kind of like the Hollywood sign, but Coca-Cola. And there's like a little patio thing up there. And so we all did our part except for the ZLs. So like, hey, last night we were like, all right, so, we reached our goal basically. So are we going? It's like, yeah, we can probably go. I'm like, okay, so when are we going? I don't know. Sometime in the morning. Okay, where are we going to meet up? I don't know. Maybe the church. All right. How are we getting there? We need transportation. No, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay. So we don't know how we're going to get there, when we're going to get there. Do we even know where we're going? Not really. They don't know where we're going or how we're going to get there. And we're like, okay, do we at least have permission to go? No, not yet. So they didn't even bother to ask president about this because it's outside of our mission. We need permission from the president to go. And they didn't even bother asking president until last night at like 12. And so they basically just didn't even plan on us going. They were like, we're probably not going to reach the goal. So let's not even bother planning it. But everyone else reached their goal except them. And so they basically just didn't even plan on going. Because they didn't plan at all. They didn't plan transportation. They didn't plan how we're going to get there or where we're going. They didn't get permission. And they haven't been in contact with us like at all throughout this.
Hmm.
And so last night, I'm like, we're probably not even going. Screw this. And so I just, slept in because we got information at like 11:30. We went to bed at like 12:30. I was so freaking tired. And so in the morning, they're like, hey, we're going. We got permission. And I woke up at like 7:30. And they were like, hey, let's be at the church at 8. I'm like, I can't get ready that quick. And then we were waiting on the hermanas, the freaking sister missionaries, till about 9. They finally got there at 9. Because I was in a rush. I was like, they're leaving at 8. They're going to leave at 8 soon. And so I better get ready. So I got ready super quick. Didn't even shower. Could barely do anything. Didn't shave or anything. Barely got any breakfast. And then we get there. We got there like 8:10. And then we just waited for almost an hour. Waiting for the freaking hermanas. And of course, it's like a mountain hike. It's a really steep hike. All the way up there. It's like probably an hour hike up this steep mountain.
Mhm.
It's super hot too. And oh my gosh, it was so hot. Like most of it, it was probably like it felt like 115, maybe 110. There was one patch, there was like 5-10 minutes of walking. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just the altitude, like a perfect altitude where my phone said it felt like 135. Just how hot and humid it was. So 10 minutes, we were just walking up this steep hill in 135 weather. And I can't do this, man. I was like dying. I was just dying. I drank so much water. And no one else had water, though. I don't know why. No one else brought water. They were like, oh, we'll be fine until we get to the top of the hill. Meanwhile, I drank like half a gallon of water. And so we got to the top finally. It was a hard hike. And just so hot and humid. I was just sweating bullets. I mean, my shirt was literally completely soaked. I tried to wipe my face with my shirt, and it just made it more wet.
Mm.
And my shoes were just like wet on the inside. So, and we were in P-Day clothes. We were in like breathable P-Day clothes, and I was still just oh. So we got to the top, and it was like a little resort kind of thing. It was like a little patio, some fake grass. There was like some hammocks, chairs, and then the Coca-Cola sign, which we took some pictures with. And we just chilled there. There was like a pulperia up there, so I bought a coconut, drank some coconut water. And just tried to relax because I was just like so dying.
How do they get stuff up there?
Truck and car. Because it was a road. It's a road. But it's like a 30-degree steep road. And so
Like you needed to get
I
one
mean-
of those micro taxis.
yeah. Oh yeah. So the taxis, because we took a bus to the city, and then of course the city's super dangerous. You don't pull your phone out or money out really at all. It's freaky. It's so sketchy. Like it's so sketchy down there in some parts. Oh. It's like going to the friggin' hood like at midnight. Kind of sketchy. Down some alleyways. It's like going down some alleyways in the hood at midnight. That kind of sketchy. It was just so sketchy. You could tell there were just gang members everywhere. Just on the watch out. Maybe it was a drug spot, I don't know. But we got dropped off there, and we are like, we don't want to walk around at all because we probably get robbed. 8 gringos in this town. And so we took a taxi. Taxis are so expensive because buses, it's like 10 limps, 12 limps, which is like 50 cents. And then moto taxis are like $1, $1.50 to use, if that. And then taxis was to go up there. It was like a 10-minute drive in a taxi, and it was 200 limps, which is divided by 25. A little less. It was like $8 actually. Okay, $8 for the 4 of us. I guess that's not really much, but for here, that's a lot. Still $8. Like down here, that's a lot. Just for this little ride, whatever. So we took that up there, and it was nice. We chilled up there for about an hour and a half. I tried to catch chicken. There were like these little bantams. There just these little bantam chickens up there, a little bit bigger than like gnocchi sized. And so I tried to catch 2 of them, but they kept outrunning me, jumping up mountain. They were literally just flying around the place because they're little skinny chickens. They would just jump and fly from one end of the area to the other. I was trying to catch it. But it was nice, relaxed in the hammock, called Jeremy for a bit. But it was nice up there. It was cool. It was an awesome view. I got a couple pictures. And then hiking down or just walking down, it just hurt my legs because it was like just so steep. And so walking down, it was a lot easier than walking up, but it just hurt my legs
Mhm.
because you're just like boom, 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 boom every step. Elder Hall's his trainer.
Does he
Um,
think was he a good missionary?
Yeah, Elder Hall says he was a great missionary. He was hardworking. He loved the Bible. He knew the Bible like the back of his hand. And he's a hard worker. He likes doing long lessons though, like 30 minutes to an hour lessons, which I don't know. That's not really effective most of the time. And apparently I don't know. He just gave me some like pointers. But my first Latino comp, that's gonna be interesting. No more English. Yay.
Oh boy.
Spanglish.
Apparently the guy knows a ton of English vocabulary. He's like a decent English. He knows like a lot of English, but he just cannot speak it. Because the guy comes from like a little like town, a little tribe from Panama. Or no, Puerto Rico. Or Panama? I think Puerto Rico. He comes from a little tribe in Puerto Rico. So he's got a heavy like Spanish accent. And he said he's been learning Spanish or English, and he cannot speak English.
Oh.
It'd be like, hello, when you get those side of when I shut it.
It's
It's
like
like-
that guy you guys met, right?
Yeah. But he knows a
Well,
ton of
that's
English.
Paul's understood that guy, right? Is that why Paul understood that guy? On
I
the street, companion?
We haven't seen that guy at all. We haven't seen the crackhead in a while.
So now you're going to get the personal immersion experience of that.
But Elder Hall said, he would ask him like, ¿Cómo se dice? Like, how do you say pestilence in Spanish? And he's like, this pestilencia. Or he'll be like, how do you say wood? Madero. So the guy knows a ton of English words. And so he's basically Google Translate, but he just can't speak any Spanish, any English. So interesting. But you could totally have a conversation with him in English and he'd understand you. That's weird. That's just weird to me. He just can't pronounce English. I don't know why. For 11 hours. I'm actually super excited for that.
You are?
Because I'm going to be on the bus and I'm just going to have tons of time to read. It's gonna be amazing. Oh, because I only ever have like 30 minutes to like 30 minutes ish to read. Um, except I've been jipping my personal study again this week. I was doing good last week, and then I'm back to just wasting time and just getting ready through my personal study. So I gotta lock in. I gotta do better. But I'm gonna have tons of time on the bus to read. That's gonna be awesome. Um, and also, so Christian came to church just last week and the week before. So 2 weeks ago, like 2 Sundays ago, he came and we, for Elders Quorum, we had a lesson on Iring's talk from this last conference. I think it was like "Come Unto Me" or something like that. Iring's talk, and Christian was like, he was reading it because we were going over it a little bit, like sections throughout the Elders Quorum lesson. But Christian was just gobbling it up. He was eating it up. He was like, "This," and he was just reading the entire talk. And he was like, "I loved it." And he said Elders Quorum was fantastic because the guy that was giving the talk, or the guy that was doing the Elders Quorum lesson, he was a previous pastor for the Evangelist Church. So he's got a very like loud voice, booming voice. He's like, and so he was very engaged. You can tell he was a pastor.
Mhm.
But Christian, because he had been saying that he's not able to come to church because he's just so busy in the morning. And he's like, he's just like, "I won't be able to come to church. I'm just too busy for this and that." But that Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, he's like, "You know what? I'll come. You know what? I'll come to church. I'll just go." And he missed the first hour. He came in like the last 10 minutes of the first hour, but he came for the Elders Quorum lesson. And he said from reading that talk, the Spirit just was so strong. He felt the Spirit so much. He said that was what he needed. Like that talk is just what he needed because it talked about a lot of different stuff. Faith in Christ. Now, it also talked about baptism. Mosiah 18 when Alma's like, if you're willing to, mourn with those who mourn, if you're willing to, help lift each other's burdens. I talked about baptism. He was like, it talked about a lot of stuff. It was a good talk, and he was like, that's what I needed. And so he's realized that he's got to start, putting aside more time for God in his life. He's going to start coming to church more often. He's going to try and, just be more, just put aside more time for God in his life. I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's go, Christian. That's right. And I also gave him 2 talks. I gave him 2 of my favorite talks from Uchtdorf on being genuine and You Are My Hands. And I invited him. I was like, I think you'll like You're My Hands more, but watch them both. Watch them both because he also speaks English, and so he actually got the full experience of the talks. Because in Spanish, it's just a person talking over it, and so you don't actually get like the testimony of the person speaking when it's in a different language because it's just a translator speaking.
Mhm.
You don't get the emotion. You don't get the actual person's voice. And so he was able to actually listen to Uchtdorf in English because he speaks English. And I gave him to him to watch on Thursday because we were going to come back and visit him on Saturday. And then we came back on Saturday and he was like, I watched them both. And he loved the On Being Genuine one. All throughout the talk, he was like, I totally agree. Because that one talks about like leadership, being humble, being genuine, and, not trying to aspire to the honors of men, but try to aspire to God. Be more like God. Try and it talked about like leadership and, not wanting power over others. If you do have power over others, you know, what is that saying? It's like, I don't know. If you're in a position where you have power over others, be merciful. Don't use that power for bad. Don't exercise authority over another person just because you have that authority. Be merciful. Don't judge people. And all throughout the talk, he was just like, I loved it. He related to it so much. And he's like, man, I love these general conference talks. And he's like, the "You Are My Hands" one. He's like, it's pretty good, but it's kind of boring. He didn't really like it, but
Oh,
he loved the On Being Genuine one. He's like, man, I love these talks. I'm like, yeah, and I love Uchtdorf too. I mean, he's my favorite. I love Eyring as well. He's my second favorite. So he really liked it, and his faith is growing so much. I'm so proud of him because we've been teaching him like since my first month that I was here.
mhm.
And you know, his growth is like immense. Like he's grown so much. He has an actual testimony of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because before he was like just dabbling in all sorts of random spiritual religious stuff. He was like, I believe in this gods, these gods, there's the Egyptian gods, these gods. But now, he's more coming to understand, more about, our Heavenly Father, the God. And also Jesus Christ and just the gospel. And so he's growing his faith so much, and I'm just so proud of him. I love it. It's awesome to see that we've actually been able to help him as much as we have. And so I'm happy. I hope the others don't screw it up. Be patient with him because we dropped him for a little bit because he was like weird. I'm just unable to come to church, but we kept inviting him, and we went and dropped by there, once a week. But he stopped teaching him. And Beatty and Halls multiple times were like, let's just stop teaching him. He's not progressing. I'm like, come on. He's not able to do this every now and then. He's busy with this, but he's trying to become a disciple of Jesus Christ. And he likes our messages, and he's actually trying to grow his faith. Like, don't give up on him yet. And here, 3 months later, 3.5 months later, his faith is a lot stronger than it used to be. His testimony is great. He's doing better in life. So it's awesome. And oh yeah, we had a family home evening with the Almendares family. They're like Marvin and Natalie. They're like these two kids. Natalie's 12, and then Marvin's 9, and then the parents. And we had a family home evening with them, except for the dad and the boy, Melvin and Marvin, because they were at the field playing soccer. Because the dad's usually never home. He gets back late, and he just goes straight to bed. He doesn't want anything to do with us. And so we were like, okay, we're going to plan this family home meeting so we can talk to the entire family. And we brought some members from the church, and it was fantastic. And then, we saw him at the field playing soccer at like 6. And that's when we were supposed to start, the family home meeting at 6. And we're like, hey, we're heading over to your house right now. You guys going to be there? Because we want to share a message with you. We have some members coming over to visit. It's like, yeah, we'll be over there real soon. We're just finishing up. And we go over there. And we're talking for like 10 minutes, with the mom and the daughter and the mom's sister. And they still hadn't come. And so I asked the mom if she could call her husband. They're like, hey, where you at? She called him. He didn't pick up. And basically, we just did the lesson with them, the mom and the daughter. And it was an amazing lesson, man. Why wasn't the dad there? Why wasn't the kid there? I was just so disappointed. And then they came at the last like 5 minutes of just us talking. So they came back at like 6:55. They're like, oh, we're just finishing up. We'll be over there soon. An hour later. But we played a little game with them. We played signs, which is fun. Which it was hard for them to understand the game at first, but they figured it out. So we played signs with them, and the dad missed the entire lesson. And I'm just trying to I just coped by saying maybe it was the Lord's will that he wasn't there for that lesson, even though it would have been freaking amazing if he was. Because we talked about families, eternal families, and they all gave, all the members gave their testimonies of the gospel and, how the gospel's blessed their families because the mom hasn't come to church at all. The dad's not able to. But we wanted the mom to come to church. We want them to. That was really annoying. The dad couldn't participate. So, whatever. I'm just like, whatever happened, happened. I can't change it. The dad wasn't there. Okay, whatever. But yeah, so I was just so mad that the dad couldn't come to the lesson. He could, he just didn't come. But yeah, oh yeah, so we visited Ariani the other day, yesterday actually. Because we tried to visit her multiple times. We went and talked with her yesterday, and because we went there multiple times, and she's always been gone. She's been out. Yeah, she had been crying for a bit. I don't know why. We don't know why, but I suspect it's something to do with family, maybe, or I don't know, her personal life, because she hadn't been coming to church for the last like couple weeks. We haven't been able to visit with her like at all the last week and a half. But yeah, she came out and she had been crying. She was like really sad, and other hall is just, I don't know. He just didn't have a heart. He was just like, okay, we're gonna talk about the love of Christ, and he just was not being very sympathetic at all. I was like, dude, okay. And so we're like, let's talk about the love of Christ. Let's try and talk about something uplifting. And yeah, it was a fantastic lesson. And I mean, I did a lot of the talking, but I gave my own personal testimony of, I think it has something to do with her family. And I think I couldn't tell, maybe because her dad sucks. Her dad is a horrible deadbeat father. And I don't know, it looked like she had like some like scratches or bruises, I think. And so I'm like, oh no.
Aw.
So I'm hoping for the best. I don't think it's abuse. I hope not. But yeah. I don't know. I don't really know the situation. But yes, I gotta get ready. Oh my gosh. But we went and talked with her. And then, I just talked about, my experiences, and I shared my testimony of like, trying to always be charitable to others. And, even when times are difficult, even when like life is really rough, try to, always, look to your Father in heaven for guidance and, comfort. And, try and do his will in all, in every moment. And I also mentioned, my own testimony of like my experiences, some of my experiences, growing up with like bullies and Miss Coons, and how I had to learn. I learned, because Dad told me this. He was like, to forgive someone, you just have to leave all your, you know, anger, all your emotions at the feet of the Lord, and you know, and just let Him, let Him work, let Him do His thing. I don't know. Let Him do His thing, and just forgive everyone, forgive those that hate you and spitefully use you. I shared that scripture from the Sermon on the Mount. And to just try and be an example for others, and even in your own want and need, help those that need comfort. And I shared, the thing from your baptismal covenant, where it's like, if you're willing to mourn with those who mourn, if you're willing to, be there for people that need comfort those that need comforting. Because charity is that phrase, helping others in their want and need and your own want and need. And we also just shared, about the love of Christ and the perfect love that our Father in heaven has for everybody. Doesn't matter your situation, doesn't matter who you are, what you've done. If you have the desire to improve and to change, the Lord will help you do that. And so I think it really helped her. And at the end, I shared a conference talk. I was, praying. I was like, what talk should I share with her? And so I was like looking through some from Uchtdorf, and one of them stood out to me. And it was, he will place you on his shoulders and carry you home. And that one stood out to me, but I was like, I don't know if that's it. And I kept scrolling, feeling nothing. So I'm like, okay, let me scroll back up, go to this one. And I just like, should I share this one? And boom, Spirit. Okay, all right, I'll share that one with her. And it's good. It's a good talk. I listened to it last night again. And the first half is really good. I don't know if the second half it's all right. But, and I invite her, I was like, I invite you to pray, beforehand, before you listen to it or before you watch it, that you can, find guidance in this talk, that you'll be able to, feel the Spirit throughout it, and that you'll be able to find, meaning. How do you say it? That you'll be able to find,
Purpose?
Answers,
no, that you'll be able to get something out of it.
direction.
I guess, yeah. That you'll be able to get something out of it. Something like that. And so hopefully she does that. And then we went and visited Cindy, her cousin, and we told her, I'm like, hey, you try and be there for Ariane, because she's going through it right now. She's going through a rough trial. So she needs your friendship. She needs your guidance, your help. Be that light for her. Be that good example. And so it was a good day. And so I said goodbye to a couple of people yesterday. But mainly I'm going to be doing a lot of the just saying goodbye tomorrow. That's going to be all saying goodbye to people.
Do you leave on Thursday or Thursday?
I leave on Wednesday in the morning. Yeah, Wednesday morning. So my last day here is Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah, so oh yeah, so we went to this buffet. So we went and visited Yolanda this Saturday, so 2 days ago. So we went and visited Yolanda, which was awesome, and her husband and her grandson. And it was awesome. It was great. We got to meet them. She drove 4 hours just to come to lunch with me and my companion. But she was like, "Oh, it's worth it. We don't do much anyways."
Mom's cousin.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like driving down to Moab for lunch.
See how much you grew up?
Yeah. She was like, "Man, I remember when you were 8 years old."
Yeah.
Because she's the one with the talking parrot. So that was cool. That was cool to meet her. Yeah, so we visited him, and we were gonna go to this one, like that pizzeria Tokens, but we decided to check out this other restaurant that was close by. It was called Tio Dolmo, and apparently it's like well, a buffet, and it was good, man. That was good food. It had some barbecue chicken, and had a bunch of different meats. I just got the one meat with like 4 sides thing, and there was some plátano frito. That was so good. Plátano. That was so good. They made some good plátano, and a side of beans. That was good. Those are good beans. Some salad, some potato salad as well. And the barbecue chicken. It was just so good. And there was horchata. It was good horchata. Oh, it was a great lunch, man. I'm surprised we haven't been there before. But yeah, so we talked about just life, and stuff for a while. Talked about our family. I talked about the mission, so far. And it was great. It was awesome. It was a great experience. And then we had a little lesson because she's a Seventh-day Adventist and her husband too, but they have a strong testimony of the Lord and Heavenly Father in their life. So that's awesome. They're strong believers in the gospel. And so that's awesome. And oh, come on. And so we had a little lesson about the Book of Mormon, like a 15-minute lesson. Because she didn't really know a lot about the Book of Mormon. She has one at her mom's house, but she didn't know really much about it. And so we talked a bit about it, and we gave her 3rd Nephi 11 to read, which is where Christ comes. And we talked about, how Christ, ministered to people here in the Americas because, they weren't able to receive the gospel because they were on a different continent. And so we talked a little about that and then gave her that chapter to read. And she also gave me a gift bag and Elder Halls too, with a Honduran shirt and a tie and a pair of socks. So I gave her a book more. Then I signed it as well. So that was nice. That was very nice of her to go out of her way to getting me a gift. But yes, that was an awesome visit. That was a really weird day though. We didn't get much done at all. But it was a really good visit. It was nice. It was like early P Day. Anyways, that's all. Anyways, love you guys. Love you. Take care. See you next week.